The last straw. Karen had always prided herself on running her upscale boutique, a little slice of luxury in a quiet corner of a suburban town. Her clientele were predominantly wealthy, mostly white, and she felt comfortable in the world she'd carved out for herself. Everything was orderly, perfect, just the way she liked it. One fateful afternoon, a young black woman named Jasmine walked into Karen's store. Jasmine, wearing an elegant but simple outfit, had a quiet grace about her. She was looking for a dress for a high-profile charity event, and she had heard that Karen's boutique carried only the finest designers. As soon as Jasmine stepped through the door, Karen felt her stomach tighten. Her mind raced with unconscious biases that she'd never dared admit, but which she couldn't shake. She didn't trust the younger woman to appreciate the value of her fine selections, so Karen watched her from behind the counter with a sharp, judgmental eye. "I'll be with you in a moment," Karen said stiffly when Jasmine approached the counter, offering a forced smile that didn't reach her eyes. Jasmine, calm and respectful, didn't seem bothered. She browsed through the racks, touching the delicate fabrics, but the vibe was uncomfortable. After a few minutes, Karen walked over, her voice edged with thinly veiled disdain. "Can I help you find something? Or maybe you'd prefer somewhere else?" she asked, her tone more condescending than helpful. Jasmine's face froze. She had experienced racism before, but never in such an overtly dismissive way. She took a breath, then spoke calmly but firmly. "I'm looking for a dress for a charity gala. Something sophisticated. Could you recommend something?" Karen's eyes narrowed, her patience running thin. "Honestly, I'm not sure you'll find anything to your taste here. Perhaps you should try one of those big box stores that cater to people like you." Jasmine stared at Karen, her expression unreadable, but her heart was racing. "People like me, yes, you know," Karen sneered. "The kind of people who like cheap, flashy things. This is high-end fashion, sweetheart." "Maybe it's too much for you." Jasmine blinked, but instead of responding with anger, she simply nodded and turned to leave. But just before she reached the door, Karen added, "I'm sure they'll be able to find something suitable." Jasmine paused, then looked over her shoulder and smiled sweetly, though her eyes were sharp. "I think you might be mistaken about me, Karen," she said quietly. Karen's eyes widened in confusion. "What are you talking about?" Jasmine walked out of the store without another word, leaving Karen alone with her thoughts, which now felt inexplicably heavy. Later that evening, Karen's phone rang. The caller ID was unfamiliar. When she answered, her face turned pale as she heard the voice on the other end. "Karen, it's Jasmine from earlier today. I thought I should let you know something since it seems there's been a misunderstanding." Karen's heart skipped a beat. "What misunderstanding?" "I'm actually the head of the charity that you so rudely referred to earlier," Jasmine continued. "The event you're sponsoring this year? Well, I'm in charge of the funding and guest list, and guess who I was planning to recommend your store to? But after what happened today, I think I'll take my business elsewhere." Karen's jaw dropped, the truth crashing over her like a wave. Jasmine wasn't just anyone, she was an influential, powerful person in the very world Karen had desperately been trying to infiltrate. Suddenly, the reality of her own prejudice, the mistake she had made, hit her with full force. Her boutique, the one thing she'd always thought would keep her untouchable, was now at risk. "I'm sorry," Karen said, suddenly realizing how small her world had become. "I was wrong. I assumed things based on, well, things I shouldn't have assumed. Please, let me make it right." But Jasmine, who had the power to shut down her boutique with a single decision, wasn't moved by the apology. "The only way you can make it right is by learning the value of treating everyone with respect, regardless of who they are or what they look like." Karen was left speechless, the weight of her arrogance now clear. She had pushed away a person who held the power to destroy the very thing she held dear, all because of her own blind biases. From that day forward, Karen began to change not just the way she ran her business, but the way she saw the world. Slowly, she started making amends, reaching out to people she had once dismissed. But deep down, she knew that nothing would ever quite make up for the moment she had allowed her prejudice to define her. And Jasmine? She never shopped at Karen's boutique again. But she did ensure that every person she worked with, whether through the charity or in the world of fashion, knew that luxury wasn't just about clothes. It was about respect, dignity, and recognizing the worth of every human being.